Welcome, everybody, to episode number 35 of the Art of Marketing podcast webinar series with your friends at Applied Art and Technology. Today, we are welcoming Cathy from Simpson College on the show, and we're going to be talking about selling the value of a private college education. We are joined with our partners, George and Mark, our business development manager, Shannon Quinn, myself, Ryan, and I'm in marketing. Really excited about today's episode, not only for the topic, but the fact that I'm also a Simpson College alumni. So I think we can definitely dig into the value of a private college education today with Cathy. So Cathy, welcome on the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So for the folks that don't know who you are, can you tell everybody a little bit about your job title and all the different stuff you're doing over there at Simpson?
Sure. I am the first vice president for marketing and strategic communication at Simpson. Before it was an executive director. For those of you who don't follow higher education and really don't have the scorecard at home, this just means that I report directly to the president, and it is a cabinet level position. So I'm able to make decisions on behalf of the college. So all that means. It's a fancy title for somebody who works really hard. But right now we are super excited. We are in the midst of a lot of projects at the institution. We just went through a brand clarification process where we talked to almost 200 people, and we interviewed them and asked them the same questions about the institution. And basically what it boiled down to, what does Simpson mean to you, and what did you get out of your education at Simpson? Or to current students, what are you getting out of your education? We talked to parents and coaches and everybody we could talk to who would sit still for a few minutes. And we developed really a pretty succinct statement about the value of a private education in liberal arts education in today's society. And we've been working on that across the institution. So now we have one message that goes out. We have one look, one feel, and everybody on campus is really embracing that. So we're pretty excited about that. And it's rolled into everything. So athletics is walking our talk, and we're doing it. And so are our alumni. So we're pretty excited that there's a new era dawning at Simpson College.
What is the pitch? Is there a statement or mantra that you're following? Share that if you can.
Yeah, well, really what we're talking about is that a Simpson education really produces graduates who are future-proof. When students are with us on our campus, we are providing them with the skills in the classroom, the technical, the intellectual, and the critical thinking skills that will allow them to do very well in their chosen career path. But we're also providing them with the hands-on transformational learning opportunities through study abroad, through undergraduate research, one-on-one with a professor. And it's really a professor. It's not a TA, or it's not an adjunct. It's a full professor who is working with these students, or it's using Des Moines as a laboratory for internships or co-ops or job shadowing, so that when students graduate from Simpson College, they have the knowledge they need from in classroom, and then they have these hands-on experiences so that they have the practical skills to, one, be hired. 99% of all of our graduates are hired or in graduate school within 6 months of graduation. Wow. And then they're prepared for any job that comes their way for the rest of their careers. Our students don't have to go on to to get other degrees, because they can invest once in an education at Simpson, and they can go for the rest of their lives on that education, and have a wonderful career of impact.
So where does your student base come from? Is it predominantly Iowa folks, or are you getting students from all over?
So Shannon, right now it is predominantly Iowa. We are changing that with this year's class. We have, so I've been doing this for 32 years. Before this job, I was at the University of Montana, which is the flagship institution in Montana. And I was at the University of North Florida, where they are still seeing increases based on the strategic enrollment management plan I put into place and the marketing and communications. We've increased enrollment there 70% over the last 5 years. So pretty good success rates there. And the way we did that was we expanded our base. We weren't just looking in Florida and Montana. We really went nationwide. And what we've done is dig into the data to look at our best fit student. Which students are likely, based on GPA, based on performance while they're at Simpson, which students are likely to come to Simpson, matric, and then matriculate, so they start school here. Which ones finish successfully and then go on to have these careers of impact. And by looking at that kind of data, we can then tell which students in which areas of the country or even the world will be successful here, and we can target market to them. And that is having a great impact on where and when we are recruiting our students. So right now we are bringing in a lot of students from Arizona, from Texas, from Oklahoma. They all have caps on the number of in-student states, on students who can stay in state to go to school. So they're looking for institutions that are out of state, and they're looking at small privates that are based in the liberal arts. And so that's a perfect fit student for us. And that's where we're looking.
That's great.
Yeah.
So just for the folks at home that don't know kind of your backstory, can you tell us a little bit about kind of where you're from and kind of what brought you to the point where you're at this point where you're helping lead the march with marketing for a college?
Sure. So I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. Super happy to be from Detroit. I had a great basis for this work there, in a very multicultural neighborhood, and really had no barriers growing up other than I had to be home by the time the street lights came on, and I couldn't cross streets without an adult. I really didn't have any barriers. And so I was really lucky in where I grew up. I didn't know of any other barriers. So that was awesome. And it was perfect for my career. I learned a lot about different cultures and just assimilated them into my outlook on life. So that happened. I started off my career as an investigative journalist, and I worked for a long time covering sports. I was one of the first women in NFL locker rooms back in the day. And that was also a good eye-opening experience. I don't mean it that way. You really don't want to open your eyes in there. Anyway, so that was a great experience for me because I had to be professional. I had to be ready for anything, and I had to still get the story. And there were challenges back in the day doing that, but it prepared me for everything else that was going to come my way. And after a while, I had started a family, and it was just easier not to work nights, weekends, and every single holiday. And Dan Marino had taught my kids how to throw spirals. And by then I was like, okay, I've accomplished my life goal. And so I went into higher education, and I went into higher education really because when I was going to school when I was going to my undergraduate, I had a great interaction with one of the administrators on campus, and my dad had become really ill and couldn't function anymore, and my mom was supporting our family by working at Hallmark for $3.15 an hour, which was the minimum wage back then, and I was so she was paying all the bills for the house, and I was paying our mortgage, and then I kept doing that till I paid it off when I was 30. But there was no money, and we were really, my dad had gone to work for himself, and so there was no income, and it was just really bad, and we didn't have health insurance, and I was also the first person to go to college in my family. So first gen, I had a 0 EFC, which meant my family really couldn't contribute anything to my education. And I was standing in line in the financial aid office just crying because I couldn't fill out that form, like for anything. I just couldn't do it. There's a reason I went into journalism, and this door opened and this woman came flying out. Just stuff. All I remember is stuff was falling everywhere. And she saw me and she asked, are you okay? She saw that I was crying, and I said, no, I can't do this. And she said, well, come with me. And so we went back into her office, and she spent the next hour and a half with me that she didn't have. And she was supposed to be in another meeting, and filled out my FAFSA with me and dug into her purse and got a stamp that was kind of covered with lint and stuck it on my FAFSA and mailed it in. And if it weren't for her doing that, I would have turned around and gone home and worked with my mom at Hallmark for the rest of my life. I mean, I know I would have done that. But I went to college and I graduated in 4 years, and I had a great career in that chosen field for a while. And then I've segued all the way up to being a vice president. And it was because of Judy Benfield Tatum. And every time something good happens for me, I send her a note thanking her, because she really made a difference. And that's why I get out of bed every morning. I want to be somebody's Judy Benfield Tatum. And here at Simpson College, I can do that. I see students every day. I talk with them. I help out. I do whatever I can for them. And having come from an enrollment management background, I can make a difference. And that's what I aim to do every day. And if I can, that's great. And I go to bed happy. And if, for some reason I'm in meetings all day or dealing with a crisis, I do that. And then just the next day I'll have my chance to be Judy. And it just keeps me going. And that's why we all do what we do in higher education. So that's what brought me here. And every day I just try, even if it's just asking a student how they're doing today, or telling them they look great in that pair of boots, or, just whatever it can be. That's why I do what I do.
Such an inspiring story.
Yeah. What an awesome story.
Well, Judy
Just takes that one person.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? You talk to anybody in higher ed and they've had that one person. So we're people.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's wonderful.
So in that vein, I'm curious, what are some of the things you guys are doing at Simpson to try and create some of those experiences or those relationships with people that make the difference?
Well, thanks for asking, Ryan. We're in the middle of this really cool campaign. I'm super excited about this. So we have kind of engaged our whole community on campus to reach out to students who are currently in our enrollment funnel. And so we have all of our faculty are writing to students who have applied to the institution, but have not yet taken another step that would tell us how interested they are. And so we have all these really bright postcards that are all about academic learning and engagement with faculty, and they're just really cool. And we host them up in our suite here in the tower of Hillman Hall. And we make it kind of fun, and we have competitions and we have snacks and things, but they write to these students and tell them what they can expect to experience in the classroom and what it's like to learn here on campus. And we send them out for them. We take care of all the postage and do all that. And it's really allowing the faculty to form a relationship with the student before the student even gets here in the fall. And the hope is that just forms a connection. And then, the student will have somebody they know on campus, and they can form a dialogue and they can start talking before the fall semester even starts. Then we have alumni who are writing. We've made specially designed cards just for alumni, and we self-addressed them and stamped them, cute dog. And we made it really easy for the alumni, and they're writing 10 cards to students in their hometowns. So, and these are students who have applied and taken the next step, but not the final step. And so they're encouraging them to really take that final step because they already have a future-proof education, and these are the things they've done with it. And we kind of coached them along so they can write those. And right now they're in their hands, and they should be mailed by March 15th. And so again, it's another way to form that relationship. And then as a final push, we have our board of trustees who are calling students. So actually picking up a phone and hopefully the students will answer. but they'll be forewarned that these calls are coming. And our board of trustees are actually calling students who just need that extra push to make the final connection with Simpson and enroll in classes. So how cool is that if like the board of trustees calls you and says, hey, this is a really great, and most of them are alums. So what a great connection to make. And then you've got that for the rest of your life. I mean, you've got these captains of industry and people who are at the top of their fields and in whatever field it might be, who are your mentors for the rest of your life. And so we are super excited about this campaign. We know it's going to make a difference. We know that moms and dads are going to like this personal outreach. And I've done this at other schools. And I personally used to write to every single student who was admitted to my institutions. My family loved me at night because all I did was write cards, but well, it kept me quiet at least. So it's had phenomenal effect, and I know it's going to have it here too. So we've never done anything like this before, and I'm eager to see the results.
That's a really homegrown, organic way to approach that. And I think that personal, it really is about relationships, as is almost everything these days. What else are you doing? What kind of digitally, what kind of social media presence are you doing? Tell us a little bit about that.
So we have totally revamped our digital presence, and anybody who follows Simpson can tell what we've done. We used to just have generic posts on Facebook and Twitter. We really weren't engaged on any platforms. And when I got here August 1, we really changed that up. The first thing I did was post, my first day, best first day ever, was at the balloon launch on our campus. And so I took like a mad woman a billion photos of the balloons going up and video. And so we posted. I mean, I didn't know any better. And so I just kept posting, and that had huge engagement. And so once we really started to refine what we were doing, we've had a lot of engagement. And that's what we want. We don't want to just post something and have it be sitting there and people registering for events, although that is a wonderful kind of post to have, but we want people talking back to us, and we want to have that back and forth. And so we've seen that increase tremendously. We're now on Pinterest, where we can post lists and items like the 5 things to include in your essay to Simpson College, your application essay to Simpson College, or 5 tips for taking the SAT or ACT. We're test optional right now, and probably will be for a long time to come, but still we're trying to do those sorts of things on Pinterest where moms and dads also are. And so they can kind of read those things and engage with us that way. And then our LinkedIn presence has gone through the roof. We're increasing about 450% each month. I pulled those stats last night just to double check, but we're going up about 450, between 450 and 475 a month. And it is just increasing the traffic because we're really aiming at professionals who want to get another degree, like one of our master's degrees, which people can complete while they're still in their full-time jobs, or who just want another certificate or want to hone up on some skills. And they can do that while they're still working. They can do it over a summer. And that has had a tremendous impact on what we're doing. And then we just post silly stuff like when the students went home, but we were still here at school. We hit a squirrel, this stuffed squirrel all over campus, and be a little hard to hide a live one, I guess, but and he had I made him a little scarf and a little hat in Simpson colors, and we hid him in different places, and the first person to guess where he was digitally got a prize. And we just had some fun with stuff too. And so we're not taking ourselves quite as seriously, and that has been noticed on social.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, Cathy, I have a couple of questions about
Sure.
that. When people talk about social, what sort of frequency works for you? And then how are you able to, I mean, that's a lot of work if you had a dedicated social people. How are you as a department able to pull that off?
So duct tape and a lot of people working together. I have a tiny department. I only have, I really truly only have 5 marketing people, and then I've got a couple technical people. So we all work together, and we plan out a year of social media, and then we leave time each month to fill in what we need to do. When I first got here, they were only posting once a day on one platform, and we really had to have a learning moment and look at best practices. And so now we're posting pretty often, and just for it, and we're posting on different platforms to different audiences so that we can engage that way. And that's having a lot of happy results for us. And we're doing different types of posts too. There are some posts that are just recruiting, and there's some that are just marketing, and there are some that are just engagement, like, hey, Simpson, what do you think about this? And then they answer us. And so that's been very helpful for us. But, we're trying to average 3 posts per platform per day. And we're all posting. And so, but we have a master plan and a master calendar, and we just follow it.
Yeah, I think it shows that you really need a good strategy. To be effective, you have to know what channels, what audience they are, and the frequency is. And your team apparently probably has gotten to be a habit with posting now, huh?
Yeah. We used to have a third-party vendor that do everything for us. And I'm a big believer in not having third parties do things for you like that, because the staff knows the institution better than anybody ever can, and better than you can tell them about the institution. So that they're writing about it as intimately as you can. And so one of the first things we did when I came on board was really talk about that, and the contract was coming to an end. So we decided not to renew it and take it on ourselves. And I think that alone has been a game changer for us, that we have this voice now, and it's pretty authentic. And if we just feel inherently that a post isn't going to work that day because something happening in the world, we change things on the fly, and our audiences see that, and they appreciate it, and that has helped us tremendously to build the audience that we've got now. So I really think doing it in-house has been a big deal for us, and people get to know our voices too. I think they know who's posting that day.
Was there some reluctance by the staff that, oh, gee, I have no idea what to post? That's good.
Mm-mm. No, this, I honestly, so this is my 6th, 7th institution. Honestly, best team I've ever worked with, most dedicated, hardest working. They jump in and then ask, okay, now what? I mean, they're like, if I'm like, hey, let's try this, they're like, yep. And then they look, okay, now what? And they do it, and they're amazing. Honest, they are the best.
I'm curious, when you got to Simpson, when you started a new place, usually the staff has a perception of how Simpson is viewed in the community. Sometimes it's on track and sometimes it's not. And then you have to kind of work through that. When you got there, is what brought you here still true for you, or were there some things that you had to work out?
Oh no, it was pretty much what I thought it was. Simpson has huge potential. It's a great institution today, but it has huge potential. And with all the changes in the world that COVID has wrought, and all the cultural changes that are coming about with the different movements, and kind of the way we're righting a lot of inequities, Simpson has a place, and Simpson has a very important role to play. And I thought that when I interviewed over the summer last year, and when I got the job, I knew I've been in institutions, and I know you can read them pretty well after so many years. And I knew kind of what we were facing. some things were a surprise when I got here, but nothing out of the ordinary. And right now, Simpson is in such a place to grow and be a solution that I'm impressed. And we have the right people in the right roles to really, really pop in the next year or two.
What are some of the plans as you guys are moving forward? Obviously, with virtual is a huge thing and some of the competition out there. Maybe talk a little bit about where Simpson fits in the mix of education, because there are so many alternatives and other competitors and things. What's kind of your guys' differentiator or key thing that kind of sets you guys apart?
Well, undoubtedly, it's and Ryan, you know this from your experience on campus, is our personalized attention. It doesn't matter what modality you use to get an education at Simpson College, it's going to be personalized, and you are going to know your faculty members. You're going to be taught by full professors. You're going to have an experience that is your own, and you get to really create it. And so I think that sets us apart, even from other small liberal arts liberal arts institutions. You don't have that kind of flexibility at a lot of schools. And here we really work with you to create your own Simpson experience. So I think that sets us apart. I think now after COVID, we've determined we really can do this online thing, and we can do it really well and not lose any of that personalization. We can still deliver transformational learning opportunities. We can still deliver the high quality internships and co-curricular activities that are meaningful to a student. And we always need that college experience and that college life, because I think you learn as much out of the classroom as you do in the classroom. I always joke that you need to learn how to, you've got to turn your underwear pink once, right? You have to, because it's a rite of passage. But then you learn how not to do it the next time. And you still have that safety net under you at college where, you get to screw up and you have consequences, but there's still that safety net where we'll help you. So that's an important part of the college experience. And we offer that in ways that I've never seen done in another institution. So we've got that going on. We're really working to expand our online programming. We have a new academic dean who's phenomenal. He comes to us from Albion, where he was there for 9 years. He's been in a number of other institutions. He's got a vision for the future. We're expanding our master's degree programs. They're going through curriculum approval right now. And, pretty soon, folks are really going to see us as a graduate institution that offers what people want to study and in ways that fit into their busy lives, because we all know that with COVID, our lives got 100% more busy just to deal with the daily life that we didn't have to do before. Homeschooling became something we all had to learn how to do, and how to get from point A to point B safely and those sorts of things. So we've got all that going on. And then, we're also looking to work with different companies in the area to provide their trainings and and college classes that will enhance what they're doing in their corporations, and provide the right tools at the right time for their employees. And I think that's going to be a huge partnership that will be able to offer huge benefits to those corporations. So, we're excited about the future and all that we'll be able to offer the community and beyond.
Does it make you want to go back, Ryan? You want to go for round 2 out there?
I don't know. It's kind of nice not having homework, so that's a good plus, I guess.
So that's the thing you do now. We flip the classroom, and you don't have homework. You read the lecture, and then you come in and you do the homework during class. So that's cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah. See, you want to come back.
Go get that MBA.
There we go.
I'll send you an app.
There we go.
Okay,
Only
well,
if
we
you'll
have
sit
to.
with me for like an hour and work on it, because I will probably cry if I have to go back to college again. I thought I was done, so I would be excited for some help.
I
Hey,
first
bef-
think you need
oh.
to send him the forms or letters that he needs to send out as an alum.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
Before we wrap up, we have to get Cathy to tell us the story that, about what a tough gal she is. You have to share that. It's so unique.
Yeah. So all of the boys my daughters bring home get to hear this story too. So I grew up in Detroit, and there's 9 months of the year the state is frozen solid, and so we all play hockey. And I played hockey from the time I was 2 and could really walk, and so I played hockey, and I was one of the first girls to play on boys teams, and then I was the first girl to play high school hockey on the boys team, boys varsity, and so it was a big deal, and I loved it, and we kept it a secret from my mom the whole time. She never knew I played hockey. Have lots of fake teeth and have broken every bone twice, and still hold the record for penalty minutes in my hometown, which my daughters are super proud of. And
I love that.
Awesome.
we go home. So, 297 minutes is nothing to shake a stick at.
Oh my gosh, pun intended. So the dad doesn't need a shotgun. You got mom's hockey stick.
Oh, and I am so tougher than him. Like he one time a frog jumped onto my leg. We lived in Florida, and a frog jumped onto my leg. He leapt over the baby to get in the house, and I had to deal with the dang frog. So
Awesome.
I just wanted to ask you one thing too. There's been so much discussion about the student debt.
oh yeah.
How do you approach that from a marketing standpoint? That's a huge question that people, it's a big topic right now.
So our students actually only carry about 30,000 on average in student debt, which is well under the national average. And we work hard to ensure that they are offered everything else before they are even offered a student loan. So our students graduate with less debt. They are given more scholarships and more grants than many of the other schools in our region or our competitors. And we will work with students individually to ensure that when they're coming into the institution, that we have built the package that best fits their financial needs and their family's financial needs, which is why the debt that they leave with is so low. National average is somewhere around 41 to 45, depending on which scale you're using. So actually, we work really hard to keep that number low, and it's been dropping fairly steadily for the last 5 years, and we aim to get it even lower. We're working with a new partner to help us with our tuition leveraging and student debt ratio, and I believe within the next 3 years it will drop.
Wow, awesome.
That's a number one priority for us.
And combine that with the high rate of employment afterwards. To have that debt and not have a job.
Yeah.
And our students will earn over the first 5 years of being out of college about $30,000 more than someone with just a high school diploma. So we kind of wipe out the debt within the first 5 years. So
that's very cool. Well, Simpson has a very long history. I think people don't realize how long it's been around. Long time.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
1960, so yeah, we've been around.
It used to just be 2 buildings and that was it.
Yeah. And now look at us.
there's one interesting story. Now, this was before my time, just to clarify. But George Washington Carver went to Simpson to study art and piano.
Mhm.
And his art teacher recognized his skill in horticulture and recommended, I think her husband was the head of the horticulture department at Iowa State, and recommended that he go there. And of course, he's had a very amazing career, or had since then. I thought that was such an interesting story. Who are
Yeah.
the Simpsons' most famous alumni?
He is definitely at the top of that list. And Carol O'Connor, and there's a number of Carol O'Connor, yeah, Archie Bunker. And I don't know if you know this, but George Washington Carver, the science building on our campus is named after him. And there's a statue of him as a young boy reading a book in that building. And it is the most peaceful statue. Every once in a while, I go do some self-care and just sit in front of that statue because it's
That's cool.
Yeah, we're really proud of our association with him. So, and then there's going to be a statue of him in the Capitol Rotunda.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they're fundraising for it right now, and I believe it's in 2 years it'll be in the Rotunda. So,
And I know Ryan showed me plans where he wants his statue.
get right on that, Ryan. As soon as you apply for a graduate degree.
Right. Just send me some postcards. I'll earn my way to the statue. One of the questions I had also was with all the different varying audiences you guys are targeting with potential students and parents and the community and stuff like that. How do you manage all the different messaging that goes out? Is there like you said, is there certain platforms that you focus certain attention on, or what's kind of the approach that you guys do with making like inclusive messaging for everybody when you're reaching so many different types of people?
Magic. We have a very sophisticated CRM, and my office, right? So again, been doing this for 32 years. So we write to every audience there is. So we have prospective students, we have incoming students, we have admitted students, and then parents, and then we have counselors and coaches, and we've got every audience, right? And so when I write a comp plan that is about getting students to go from admitted to deposited, so when they pay their $200 deposit, right, we need to move them in the funnel that way. So then each one of the segments, our stakeholder groups, has a different comp flow, and we put it into the CRM, and those just fire off in whatever interval I determine they need to go. And so that's what we do. We use a very, very sophisticated CRM that's built just for enrollment by two guys who graduated from an institution that shall remain nameless, but they did it just for enrollment. And it is phenomenal. This is the third institution I've used this particular product, and it just gets better every year. So that's how we do it. And, we use Post-it notes to kind of start it out, and then you see your errors pretty quickly. So it's great. It's fun.
The infamous tactile wireframe. Let's see. This goes here. This goes. Oh, this got to go here.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And then you got to make sure you have the right links and answers. And so it's fun.
Yep.
It's a puzzle.
It is a puzzle. I'm sure it's enjoyable to figure that puzzle out. And then when you see the success from that is just the major payoff.
Right. And you can see from, each comm, if it's an email or a text message or a phone call, you can see the ROI right away, and you can see what's not working in real time. So you have time to change it. Wow. And you used to not be able to do that in 19, whatever. You couldn't do that.
Time before now.
Yeah. Time before now. At my previous institution, I had 19 dashboards that I looked at in the morning, and that really determined what we were going to do for the rest of the day and what we needed to change and how we were going to change the message and this digital marketing and this and that. And that was really the epitome of sophistication using this particular tool. And we'll get there here. We're just not there yet.
Awesome. Wow. Wonderful.
Well, I really think, like you said, the relationship and the attention to detail really, I think, does get people, because especially with the bigger colleges, they just don't have the resources to do those interactions with every single applicant. It's kind of crazy, because I remember even when I moved from that stage to put my deposit in, I actually got a call from the president of the college at the time to congratulate me for being accepted. So it's just kind of crazy that I'm like, wow, the president of the college took 2 minutes out of his day to call me. Like, it's just stuff like that I'm sure definitely limit churn, or people that do like put the deposit in and then they don't show up in the fall, or any other types of people that would fall through the funnel. So very cool to see how that the relationship is kind of helping you guys get things done.
Yep, Marcia's going to start that up again. So she'll be making phone calls to everybody who deposits. So that'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Super cool. So I know I put a question in the Q&A. If anybody has any questions for Cathy before we wrap up today, feel free to put those in. This is the last call for questions, but while we're seeing if anybody has any questions, what advice would you give for marketers that are, thinking about different ways to reach their audience, whether it's digital or traditional, or just have that unified message? How are some of the ways that they can look at their marketing and have that unified message as they go forward with some of the things they're doing?
I definitely recommend doing a brand clarification to every marketer out there. If you haven't revisited your brand in the past 2 years, revisit your brand. Talk to everybody. Talk to your stakeholder groups. Make sure that you really ask them some tough questions, and then compile all that data and see what rises to the top. See what everybody is saying about your brand. That will give you your message, and you'll do, oh yeah, duh, and then you write from there. You write your brand platform, you write your promise, you write your ethos statement, and then you develop it into talking points, and then you break it down into what you're going to put into these kind of messages to these type of stakeholders. And once you do that, the rest flows naturally, and it really does help. And then it also helps because your stakeholders have said it. So when you go around and you start doing the presentation about your brand clarification to get everybody on the same page, you like, for me, it was really easy because I said, well, the chair of the board said this, and pretty soon, like, people caught on that, okay, this is a big deal. And it was easy then, because if, I was meeting with the staff leadership, and they had several direct quotes, I was able to pick those out, and it helped. And so that is my number one piece of advice: do a brand clarification, get your stakeholders on board, and then roll it out and use it.
Great advice.
Yeah, it helps everywhere in any business.
We did have a question come across. Susan was asking, are there internship types that Simpson's trying to find for students? What are you guys doing for internships to help facilitate that?
We'll take anything. We are constantly looking for internships in any field. And just send me an email at Cathy with a C, Cole with a C, at simpson.edu, or call me at 961-1595. And I will get you to I will take all the information, get it to the right person, and take care of it. It is everything our students want right now. They all want internships. So we are looking in every single area. We're looking in every area of business, and we're looking in every area of the country. So we'll take it.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, we want to be mindful of your time, Cathy. I guess now's a great time. If there's anybody that's listening, what's a good way to engage with Simpson, learn more about some of your guys' programming that you're offering, and all that type of stuff?
Sure. We would love to hear from any of you about, if you are listening and you're not in the market to go to school, please email us at admiss, ADMISS, at simpson.edu. And we'll send your kids some stuff about any program at the institution, or just general information. We're happy to get them engaged. It is never too soon to start planning. We have information for students as young as the 5th grade. So we want to make sure that they're on the right track. not all of our information is Simpson specific, but we will help you prepare for the college search process and make sure that they're taking the right classes, that they're doing the right things while they're in school, taking advantage of every opportunity that they have. If you happen to be looking for furthering your education, please email us at adults.learn@simpson.edu or give us a call at 515-309-3099. And we'll be happy to help you. We have a concierge type service delivery in our adult learning areas, and that includes all of our graduate programs. So you call, you talk to one person throughout your time with us. She is your admissions counselor, your enrollment mentor, and your academic advisor. She's been highly trained, and you never have to worry about connecting with someone else. Ginger's your person. So it just makes it a little bit easier to make the transition. And we'd love to hear from you.
And if you need help filling out any financial aid forms, call Cathy.
Call me. Seriously, call me.
Hey, Cathy, thank you so much for coming on. And thanks for kind of a look behind the curtain at Simpson. I'm super impressed at what great strategy and tactics and how well organized you are, and really a tremendous example of how to set up a marketing program like this. Excellent work. Simpson's in great hands.
Yeah.
Marcia Kelleher, let me tell you. Thank you all.
So nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure to spend time with you, Cathy.
Thank you all.
Thank you for listening to the Art of Marketing podcast from Applied Art and Technology. If you liked the episode, make sure to give us a 5-star rating and leave a review so we can help more listeners connect with their customers. See the show notes for access to our free 88-page video idea book filled with ideas for your next production. And to learn more about our company, visit our site at appliedart.com.